Welcome everyone to Let's Talk Studio with your host, Teresa Ann. I'm so glad that you are joining me on today's Flipping the Script Monday. Now, if you don't know by now, I have one video and one podcast a week that I actually release. And today's Flipping the Script Monday is actually based on a continuation of Friday's Instagram post. Now, if you actually saw that post on Friday, it's called Freedom of Friday. And I was sharing a story about my friend Carine, who is actually doing her next exhilaration event in Detroit, Michigan in November. And so that is what's coming up next. Welcome you back to my Flipping the Script Monday episode. And I'm just so glad you're here, because if you visited my Instagram on Freedom Friday's post, I share a little bit of my experience in freedom to say no to a friend. And in that, what happened afterwards. And it was so cool because in the process of saying no, I was in the middle of God straightening me out with Him in people pleasing. And I was saying yes all the time to man, but very rarely saying yes to God. And so in my yes to man, most of the time it was no to God. Well, what happened was my friend allowed me to be obedient. And when she invited me to speak my testimony at her event in April of 2018, I was so excited, but yet at the same time, there was a conflict in my schedule. And I just knew that I was supposed to be a part of this particular event and I couldn't miss it. So I had to tell her no. Well, in the process, about 3 weeks after that no, I'm in my hammock. It's in the springtime. It's beautiful outside. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear this random voice within me say, text Carine now and tell her yes. And I went, what? So immediately I grabbed my phone. The conversation started. It was amazing because she had not yet found someone to do the testimonial. And to kind of go back on that, she had seen a vision of me speaking my testimony regarding the pursuit of my earthly father in prayer for my life to return to the Father. And she was like adamant. She just knew that she had to have a testimony like that. But even in my no to her, she gave me that graceful way out. And I'm telling you, as a friend, we need to be able to do that for one another, that we are not rejecting one another when we say no, that we are literally trying to walk out this obedience. And so there are going to be times where we just say yes to a friend because we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we feel obligated because we don't want. Sometimes it's about us, how we don't want them to be mad at us. But in the end, it isn't about pleasing people. It is about pleasing God. And so Carine really allowed a safe place for me to say no. But yet God made room later for me to say yes, because He knew that my heart was right with Him wanting to be obedient. Well, it was so amazing because in my yes, God even moved the time frame of the other event that I was supposed to be at. And it just worked out perfectly. Like you couldn't have planned it any other way. And so why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because in the moments that you are like, oh my gosh, if I tell my friend no, then she could very well be upset with me. But guess what? God is worth the risk. Okay? He's worth the risk. But I will tell you this, if they are a true friend, if you're a true friend, you and I will be able to give a graceful way in and out for people so that they can be obedient to God. So with that said, I want to also share with you that November 15th, which is a Friday at 7 p.m., there's going to be another exhilaration event with Carine and special guest Israel Houghton. And so I am so excited that we are going to get to be a part of this year's exhilaration crazy event. It's a time of celebration. It's a time of worship. It's a time of praise to Almighty God. It is a night in which we get to align ourselves with the awareness of who God truly is. And so mark your calendars. If you're in the Detroit area, make sure you get to go to this event. So if you go to carinemusic.com, here is the link right here. It's also in the description box below, so you can actually just hit that link and you can go right to her website. Also, on the screen, I'm going to highlight her Instagram handles as well. So make sure you check out carinemusic.com, and I know that you will be absolutely blessed. So thank you so much for joining me on today's Flipping the Script Monday. Remember what this show is all about: bold inspiration, revealing God's goodness. Thank you all so much for joining me on Let's Talk Studio. And I'm so grateful that you like, share, and subscribe to both my podcast and YouTube channel. For a greater reach, your reviews are so greatly appreciated. I also want to encourage you to go to godlychitchat.com and see why Selena Baginski with Pearls in Bloom and myself, Teresa Ann at Let's Talk Studio, why we are better together.